Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of Modern Man in Search of High Scores. I know you're probably asking yourself, there are a lot of podcasts out there right now covering pinball, home arcade, commercial arcade, tabletop gaming, etc. But why do we need another one? And the short answer to that is that none of them are being covered by me. So, on this episode today, we are going to do a bit of an introduction, who I am, what my arcade is like, why I'm in the hobby, and what the show's going to be about in the future. More than that, this show will have up-to-date news on the aforementioned categories, but I don't want to make this primarily a news show. If there is something interesting or important, particularly meaningful to the community, then we're sure as hell going to talk about it. But it's not the primary focus of the show. What I'd like this show to deliver on are the deep dives, the lasting memories, the culturally defining games that help shape my life in childhood and the lives and childhoods of everyone who finds themselves a part of the communities that we've carved into this small corner of the universe. Those dens of stale air and flashing lights occupied by all of the arcade rats, pinheads, and board game junkies that still get excited by the memories of putting their quarter on the glass or the sounds of D20s rattling out onto a table. This is Modern Man in Search of High Scores. So let's take a moment to look at news from around all of the various hobbies that I've tried to incorporate into this little show. I'm going to start with board games, which is not something that I often will start with, but I have a good friend who's just had a game published, and it is absolutely amazing. If you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of cooperative gameplay on the board gaming space, then I have to say, you must check this out. You do yourself a disservice not to try playing this game. And the game, of course, which I've taken a very long time to get around to naming, is House of a Thousand Corpses, based on the movie by Rob Zombie. It's a co-op game of murder and mayhem. It has absolutely stunning theme integration, and the replayability is very, very high, considering that you get to play as the killers, and you get to play as different killers each time, and the group of people you're with, ideally, will be different each time in some capacity as well. So you never know how people are going to react in the stressful situations the game creates for you. It has some of the funniest sentences you will ever say out loud when you're trying to beat this game, because you are trying to kill or capture the characters from the movie, as well as the cheerleaders from the movie, and get them to Dr. Satan. So if you haven't heard of this yet, please check it out. I'm not just saying that because I got to play test it, although being able to play test it was very, very cool. But when I play tested it, it was just on, it was a whiteboard basically. It was just cardboard and doodads and basically just trying to get the rules right and make sure everything functioned correctly. But it is a fully licensed game. It's put out by Trick or Treat Studios, and I would say give it a shot, because if you like cooperative board play, if you like cooperative board game gameplay, and if you like horror movies in general, or specifically House of a Thousand Corpses, you will have more fun playing this than you've probably had playing cooperative board games in a long time. Let's see, going over to the home arcade space, what the hell is there to even say? Arcade 1-Up is clutching defeat from the jaws of victory constantly. Their most recent outing with the new peasant cabs that they're dropping on Walmart's with the new art style that really just looks like a nightmare, and the fact that we've gone back to risers and somehow gone backwards in cab shape, and then of course the use of those horrible screens. I don't know what to say about you, Arcade 1-Up. My current home arcade is still full of a lot of their products from when they were either good or getting good. And I think that they were great. If you wanted to have the experience of playing arcade games in your home, Arcade 1-Up was the one and only option. And for a while, they were really trying to do good by the community. People who are listening to this and have any knowledge about Arcade 1-Up are getting this information from about 50 other YouTubers and sources. So I don't want to drone on about it, but obviously, that's not the case in recent years. The people that were at the company that made it so special are no longer there. But that kind of takes us to our other area of news, which is, they've all gone to do other companies. So you have companies like Media 1-Up, who's partnered with Iconic Arcade. I still can't wait to get my hands on the Alpha Series Street Fighter that they have coming out, and of course whatever else they want to build. I'm very curious to see what that will be, and it would be nice to have some arcades that are a bit fuller sized, or at least closer to it, to put in the old home arcade here. And then I guess I almost we don't have anything to see about this yet, but moving on to another company, Basic Fun. This is what I want to say about Basic Fun. Show me something. I've been hearing all these rumors. I want to see the Centipede. I want to see the TMNT. I have wanted an arcade accurate in shape Centipede since Arcade One Up Blue making theirs. And I have wanted to get TMNT back in my home arcade forever, but there's always been these rumors of XL or deluxe size cabs out there, and they just have never come to fruition, and I've just never been able to bring myself to go back and buy another copy of Arcade 1-Ups with the Turtles in Time graphics, which, of course, I have no nostalgia for. I have tons of nostalgia for the original art on the original cabinet. It was in every arcade and pizza place I ever went to. I only ever saw the Turtles in Time artwork in one arcade one time, at least as far as I can remember. But come on, Basic Fun, you've tickled us where it counts. Now show us something that matters. Going into the full-size arcade realm right now, there's some really interesting stuff happening. I'm sure you've all seen, that Atari has started to put out real arcade games again. But as far as, things like Raw Thrills and modern arcade gaming, the new NBA Superstars is fantastic. If you are a fan of NBA Jam, you're going to love this game. I can't believe that they actually went back and did this. I really, really hope we get 1 million of them around me where I am. If it wasn't the price tag that it is, I would consider just buying one and putting it in my home. The fact that there are flashers for the camera going off, for cameras going off from the crowd and such, just like in NBA Jam, except they're actually they're IRL flashers, so it feels like that's going on around you while you're playing. The fact that everything is LCD screens now, so that the team colors come up in the lighting and everything. Man, NBA Jam, NBA Superstars. I was a huge fan of Jam. I still own my Jam from Arcade 1-Up. In fact, I finally beat it at home, which I know a lot of people own it, but man, has anyone ever actually taken the time to beat that game? It is a pain in the ass. Okay, back to Superstars. I want to see this game everywhere, and I want to play it. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts, too, on this one. If you guys have an NBA Superstars anywhere near you, or getting one anywhere near you, and you get to play it, go ahead and let me know. I guess that's a good time to blanket statement, reach out and say that midlifearcade@gmail.com is the email address. You can reach me there. Share your thoughts, share your concerns, share your wisdom, call me an asshole, do whatever you want. And then, of course, Halo, Fireteam Raven. Wow, dude. Just being able to hold the actual guns. I know this is a bit dated news, but for me, it was a recent discovery, or a recent in-person discovery. But being able to hold the assault rifle is from Halo is kind of one of those late teen dreams that was finally able to come true. If you haven't been able to do that and you're thinking to yourself that is it as cool as it looks, it's as cool as it looks. So I guess that's my plug to say, get back out in your arcades, no matter if you have a home arcade or not. Go back out and play some of those games yourself, because the arcade is starting to come back to life, and the only way it's going to keep coming back to life is if people keep going out and playing the games. Moving on to pinball, let's see. Is there anything here that you guys haven't heard? TPF was just recently, and so I'm sure people that are into pinball news have probably heard everything that they could possibly hear from everywhere on the globe. But as far as personal items that... Taking a look at pinball now, I can't imagine that there's not much you haven't heard recently, with TPF recently happening, and people that stay up on pinball news tend to get it just like Arcade 1-Up folks from about 5 to 10 different YouTubers or podcasts. One thing I will say that fills my own heart with pain is that Evil Dead sold out on their production run. So, I'm going to have to wait for the second hand on that one. I probably was going to have to anyways, because I knew they were approaching that sellout number. But Evil Dead's one of those things that just has to come home. For those of you who don't know, and why would you? But Evil Dead is one of my Mount Rushmore themes. I've got Evil Dead blankets and pillows. I met Bruce Campbell at a screening of the original Evil Dead when I was 16 in Sacramento. I took my oldest son to see Bruce Campbell at a screening of Army of Darkness in Monterey a few years ago. Evil Dead is big business in our house, so I'm very sad that it sold out, but I will have to find one eventually on the used market. So hey, if you're one of the people that end up getting one, and in about 6 months' time or a year's time you want to get rid of it, and you kept good care of it, midlifearcade@gmail.com. Go ahead and reach out to me, because I will be in the market. Anything else going on? Oh, I've been playing in tournaments, pinball, IFPA ranked tournaments at 9 3/4, which is the local arcade here. I am only bringing this up because I performed well. This was the first tournament that I actually made it to finals. This is the first time I ever actually earned any whoppers. That has been my goal for this year, my sort of self-set pinball goal. So in disc, look out, here we come. Boom shakalaka! And moving on to the top story for the show. Me and my little home arcade. I figure if we're going to go on this journey together, and I'm going to be bringing you content every other week here, and of course I also have content every week on YouTube. Check out Midlife Arcade or the Pinball Underground. I figure, why not introduce ourselves, or at the very least, me introduce myself to y'all. Right now I work in tech. I've done this since I was, 15. I made the switch from tech to become a licensed acupuncturist in the state of California about 10 years ago. And I just moved back into tech again because there is, shockingly, no money in acupuncture and integrative health. During that entire time, for the past 18 years, I also worked as a professional wrestler and ran a professional wrestling promotion, Rival Forge Wrestling. Before running the promotion, I actually was trained in Portland by Playboy Buddy Rose and Colonel Beers Ed Wiskowski, two of the funniest, craziest dudes you would have ever had the pleasure to meet. Unfortunately, they are both passed on. But I rode the roads for about 4 years first, and then, once I started running the company, it became more of a weekend warrior thing because at least as far as the wrestling goes, when you're running a promotion, every day's work. But that is a little about me in a nutshell.
Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell? Look at the size of this bloody great big nutshell. What sort of shell has a nut like this? I mean, it's just crazy.
So when it comes to my arcade, how it started, I have always liked pool. I mean, I know that's not where you thought this was going to start out, but I have always really liked playing pool. I've liked it since I was probably, 9 years old, 8 years old, 6 years old. I had family members who had a pool table, but we were never allowed to touch it. And so after a bitter and long fought divorce, I finally said screw it, and I went and bought the cheapest pool table I could find. It was one of the 6-foot foldable types. Set it up, and that started bringing people around, friends that I hadn't seen in a very long time, and so pool became kind of popular. And it was right around that time that I learned about that company, a little company, Arcade 1-Up, and being a lifelong Mortal Kombat fanatic, I bought their Mortal Kombat. So for the longest time, my arcade was a really dinky, pretty crummy quality Mortal Kombat Arcade 1-Up, and a really crappy 6-foot foldable pool table. But in addition to that, trying to utilize the space, hung a projector out here and a screen, and figured we could start watching movies out here and doing movie nights. Big film buff, mostly horror, but pretty much I'll watch anything. And so that was one summer. It just started off like that. Now, it started that way with one Arcade 1-Up and one crummy pool table. And now it is, let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 Arcade 1-Ups, a very nice 7-foot slate pool table, and 2 Stern Pros in my garage in the arcade right now. Alongside a very comfortable couch for watching movies on. And that just happened. I mean, first off, COVID, obviously. I think everyone knows, everyone, I should say, in the hobby knows that COVID was kind of a boon for those of us that were looking to get further into a hobby. But it started taking off really big during COVID. And the pins started showing up when Arcade 1-Up stopped making anything decent, and I was actually able to save up enough cash to start buying something that was cool. So right now, let's see, what do I have? I have NBA Jam, which is actually one of the first cabs I ever bought. I got it on sale at Walmart for $140. It's $700. It was a $700 or $600 cab at the time. I still love it. It's got double nostalgia because it's the game, and then also just the fact that I bought it and I played it to death. Like I said, to the point of actually beating it and playing online with people and stuff. So it holds a special spot in my heart. So I still have it. Got Simpsons, which is just one of those games that, especially around here, I know I would imagine it's the same way everywhere, but around here you could not walk into a pizza parlor or any even small arcades without seeing The Simpsons everywhere. And so that art holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I've got Ridge Racer, which I really got because I wanted a racer in the lineup. I've always planned on doing some serious modding to it, but once you start a pinball collection, that's kind of where all your money and focus goes. Um, I've got one of the original Final Fights. I picked up the Time Crisis because Time Crisis is another game I have a lot of nostalgia for. I've got the Mortal Kombat 30th edition, but to even call it that is kind of a misnomer. It's been heavily modded, so I completely swapped all the controls for arcade accurate controls in it. I swapped out that horrible TN monitor that it came with, and I completely redid the art package. So it's got actually arcade accurate Mortal Kombat 1 arcade art from back in the day. That was the game that got me into the whole mess all the way back when in '92. And I still can't get enough of it. I only wish we could get enough of it in the sense that some arcade company would bring out a cab that not only had all the games, but they also played online and played online well. Let's see, what else do I have? I got Big Blue, which I was never a big Capcom gamer back in the day, but it's a lot of that's growing on me now that I don't have to, there's not so much gatekeeping like there was in the 90s. I don't have to pick a franchise and just go with it and defend it to death. I put the 99 Lives... pardon me, put the 99 Lives control deck on it and rewired that with arcade accurate controls. It plays like an absolute dream and is really, really fun. One of my oldest son is actually really into Street Fighter, so that's one of the areas that one of the activities that we spend a whole lot of time doing is beating the crap out of each other. A family that plays fight games together stays together, let me tell you. I've got T2, which I have. I know this, you can say what you want about T2, but that game is just fun. When people come over, they play it. It gets a lot of play. And then, of course, I've got my Jaws from Stern, which is, I will say, currently my favorite pin in existence. I absolutely love that game. I still have mornings I wake up and say, man, I got to play some Jaws. And I have seen every bit of code that is currently released for it. Which that's a topic for another time. And then I have my Bond 007 Pro. I feel like I've got Stockholm Syndrome with that game. I have mixed feelings about it. Some days I'm really high on it, and some days I'm like, whatever. But it is actually a great game. It's a whole lot of fun. I'm still learning some of the ins and outs of it. And in fact, that's what I'll be talking about on my Pinball Underground tonight on YouTube. So if you're tuning in tonight, you're gonna be talking about hear me talking about villain modes and what are some of the best ways to go about conquering those. So what's coming to my arcade? Let's see. What's coming? I will be announcing this tonight on the program as well. Today is Sunday, April 6th, and so tonight I'll be doing the big reveal, but by the time this gets out to y'all, either you will have watched it or you didn't care to watch it, and this is where you're getting it. So I'm actually getting a game that is tied for me for my second favorite game of the '90s, which is Williams The Shadow. It's tied with me actually for Tales of the Arabian Nights, which is the J-pop classic. But The Shadow to me is what's amazing to me about The Shadow is that it breaks every rule that I usually have about pinball, about what makes a good pin. And it's somehow manages to make it better. For example, it's got more than 2 buttons, right? It's got the extra buttons for the dagger diverters. Normally, if I see more than 2 buttons on a pin, I'm like, I mean, of course, sans the action button, folks. I don't need you to, don't at me. I know the action button's there. I'm talking about on the where buttons are classically placed. It also has an upper playfield, which usually has me begging off. But the upper playfield on Shadow absolutely rules. I can't say enough good stuff about it. I've wanted one, since I got into the hobby. Fortunately, my distributor had one in really good shape, and so it has been ordered and it is on its way. And yeah, it was kind of between that and maybe like X-Men, because I really do love how X-Men shoots. But these are expensive toys, people. It's one thing if I had the money, I would just buy everything that I want. But the truth is, I got to buy stuff where I think I'm going to actually have the most fun. And where X-Men's code is sitting right now, I think I would enjoy it for about a month and then be like, well, how do I sell this thing? Hallelujah, Stern does an actual code drop on it and it becomes the best game ever. But that's yet to be seen. But yeah, Shadow's coming. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? I guess is the question I'll being asked by a machine 24/7 around this place. So, yeah, thank you for joining me today. That's a little bit about my arcade, my background, and what I hope to bring you is on this show is really doing some deep dives and discussions into what makes certain games great. In fact, on that topic for next time on the podcast, and I'm looking at a 2 week window here. So plan on a Monday drop or a Sunday night drop every 2 weeks. And next time we're going to be doing a deep dive and review of James Bond of 007 by Stern. The theme itself obviously either brings tons of nostalgia or brings nothing for anybody. If you weren't into Bond, I personally was. I really like the Connery Bonds. I think they're all fantastic or fantastically horrible, depending on which one you're watching. I also think that it is worthy of discussion. Like, what is it that I like about it? What is it that I don't like about it? What is it that brings me back for more? What is it that sometimes has me walking away? And so, in preparation for that episode, if anybody out there has played enough Bond that they would like to offer their commentary or owns one and has something to say, feel free to either drop me a written email at midlifearcade@gmail.com or, you can even shoot me an audio file if you want to. I'll edit it in. But yeah, we're gonna do a deep dive there, and then I don't know if we're gonna. I'm trying to keep it mixed up here, so we'll probably do some interviews eventually too. If I can get my buddy who made House of a Thousand Corpses to do an interview with me, I'd love to do that. If I can, we'll probably also swap out some video game stuff eventually here too. So I'd love to, of course, talk about my favorite games like Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2 and do some deep dives there. Maybe some interviews with some good players or at least some people that were involved in this production. But the problem with doing the stuff on the topics that are your absolute favorite is that it makes me nervous because I want to do it perfectly. So I got to get the cojones, and I think that'll happen once I get a little bit more comfortable with this format. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for tuning in as always. And there's not much left to say except I'm Lawrence Adams. This is the Midlife Arcade. May all your scores be high. May all your balls be extra. And this has been Modern Man in Search of High Scores.